Hi boys and girls, today we're going to learn how to identify and draw parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Alright, we're going to start off with a little bit of review, okay? So if you remember, we've been studying different parts of geometry. So a point names a location in space. So this is signified with a dot, and then we name it with a capital letter. Here we have a line. A line extends without end in opposite directions, so this is signified with the arrows. And we have 2 points on this line. We have point J and we have point K. Now, if you're asked to name this line, this could be line J, K, and we put the little symbol on top so that this would read line J, K. Now, you could also name this line KJ. So either way, JK or KJ, and we're talking about the exact same line. I'm going to put the little symbol on. Okay. Up next, we have a line segment. Now remember, from class, we talked about what the word segment means. It's like a segment of an orange. So a segment of an orange is a piece of an orange. So a line segment is a piece of a line. So if you look here, we have line segment A, B, and it's named by its 2 endpoints. So we have endpoint A here, and we have endpoint B here. So if you were asked to write this, you could write letter capital A, B, and then you could put a line over the top. Now, some textbooks you're going to see will just have a line over the top, and that will mean a line segment. Some, let me show you on this one, if we wrote B, A, some might have a line with 2 little dots on the end. So either one is correct, and you can use either way. You can either use just a plain line or a line with 2 dots on the end to signify that you're talking about a line segment. This is a ray. Okay, a ray has 1 endpoint, and then it has 1 end that extends into one direction. A ray is named using 2 endpoints. The endpoint is always named first. So with this one, C is our endpoint, so that would be the first letter of the name of our ray. And then the endpoint that's toward the end that goes out in one direction is D. So we'd put CD, and then we want to show this is a ray, so we would signal this is a ray with the symbol. Okay, now you cannot name this DC because you have to name the endpoint first. So if you did write DC, you'd really be talking about this line segment here instead of the ray CD. Okay, lastly, I want to review angles. Remember, angles are 2 rays or 2 line segments that share an endpoint and form an angle. So that shared point is called a vertex, and so this would be an example of a vertex, the shared point of the 2 lines or rays. So let's look at these. So if you remember from class, this angle here is called acute angle. It's less than 90 degrees. So remember, acute little baby angle was our mnemonic device for remembering that. So again, an acute angle less than 90 degrees. If we go over here, we have a right angle. Remember, it makes a corner. So it's 90-degree angle, makes a corner. It's called a right angle. Next we have an obtuse angle. It's larger than 90 degrees. And if you remember our mnemonic device, obese angle. So this is an obtuse angle. It's greater than 90 degrees. And then lastly on this slide for today is a straight angle. This is 180 degrees. It's also known as a line, okay, and it goes straight across. Alright, so that concludes the review portion of this video. Let's go on to our focus, which is parallel and perpendicular lines. So we're going to start off with parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines in a plane that are always the same distance apart. Parallel lines or line segments never meet. So think train tracks. Okay, if your train tracks aren't parallel, then your train's going to fall off your track. Okay, so you have to have parallel lines in order to have train tracks that are efficient and get you to where you want to go. So train tracks, parallel lines. They're equal distance apart. Okay, next we have intersecting lines, and intersecting lines cross at exactly one point. And you can think of traffic intersections. Think about driving downtown and you will see lots of traffic intersections where two roads meet or intersect. And lastly, we have some special intersecting lines. These are special intersecting lines that form right angles, and they're called perpendicular lines. You can think of this when the coach calls a timeout, makes a timeout signal, and that is a perpendicular line or an intersecting line that is perpendicular. It forms a right angle. So let's do a little bit of review because we've just learned 3 new words. We learned parallel lines are lines in a plane that are equal distance apart and never meet, so they're like train tracks. Intersecting lines cross at exactly one point, so they're like the traffic intersections downtown. And finally, we have perpendicular lines, which are again intersecting lines, but they're special because they form right angles. So we think of a timeout sign at a ball game. All right, let's do a little practice with parallel and intersecting lines. All right, let's say you were asked to find the parallel lines in this figure. So, all right, well, we know parallel lines are lines that are equal distance apart. So we have line AB and line DC, and those would be considered parallel lines. So how would you write that? All right, we could say line AB, and of course you could say line BA, it doesn't matter, you could write it either way. And we're going to make a parallel line symbol, and this is our symbol for parallel lines, and then it's parallel to DC, so we would write DC, and of course you could write CD. It really doesn't matter either way, the answer would be correct. So this would be read, line AB is parallel to line DC. Alright, let's see if we can go in and find another one. Do you see another set of parallel lines in this figure? Well, if we look here, we've got another set right here. Okay, they're equal distance apart, they're never going to meet, they're like train tracks. So how would you name this? Alright, well let's look. We have line AD, so we'd write line AD is parallel, so we'd make our parallel symbol is parallel to line BC. So this again would be read, line AD is parallel to line BC. Okay, next I'm going to clear this out so that we can start looking at if there's any intersecting lines in this figure. So let's see, I wonder if you see any intersecting lines in this figure here. So let me get my highlighter, my highlighter back. Okay. So let's see. We have an intersection right here. Remember, intersecting lines are lines that cross each other in one spot. So we have an intersection here, and we have an intersection here, and we have an intersection here, and we have an intersection here. So we have 4 intersections. Now we need to decide, are these intersecting lines perpendicular? Okay, well if you remember, perpendicular have right angles. Okay, so we've got this right angle symbol here, a 90-degree corner symbol here. So we know that this is perpendicular. So if we look, we have line AD, so we can write that, line AD is perpendicular. So how do you make a perpendicular sign? It's like an upside down T. So line AD is perpendicular to line AB. So we can write A, B, okay. Alright, so let's see if we can find another one. Well, I see another right angle here, and I know this is an intersection, so this must be perpendicular. So let's look. Well, I have line DA here, so I'm going to write DA, and we're talking about a line here, so I'm going to put my symbol for a line. And then I know it's perpendicular because I've got my right angle symbol there. And this is perpendicular to line DC. So I'm going to write that out. Now I know there's two more intersecting lines, and they both have the right angle symbol. So I know this is perpendicular. So if we look, BA is perpendicular to line BC. And then we have another one down here, another set of intersecting lines, and you see that there's a 90-degree angle here. And so line CB is perpendicular to line CD. Okay, boys and girls, that was a nice review of different types of lines and line segments and rays and angles and perpendicular and parallel. So here's what I'd like you to do to prepare for class. I would like you to complete questions 1 through 3 on the parallel lines and perpendicular lines practice page that's in your green homework folder. Okay, and if you come to class prepared with that tomorrow, and then we'll talk more and learn a little bit more about parallel and perpendicular lines. I hope you all have a great night, and I'll see you in the morning.